Thank you and welcome to the show for today. You are watching Perspectives and I am host Alana McLaughlin. This morning on the show I have Christopher Topper Atwood, local music engineer here discussing his background, his education, his career, and ultimately the impact that he seeks to leave on Tennessee through his work. Topper, I just want to thank you for sitting down and letting me kind of pick your brain for a while.
Of course, it's my pleasure. It's an honor.
Thank you very much. I want to start off this first segment by talking about baby Topper years. Tell me where you're from, kind of set up that early childhood. Tell me what you were into, any hobbies. Set up that early life for me.
Yeah, I mean, I was born and raised in Minnesota in a suburb of Minneapolis. Mother, father, two older brothers. I was the baby. And I mean, I played sports. I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school, kindergarten through 8th grade. And early on, I wouldn't necessarily say that my family was like overly musical or had any more like musical influences than the next family. But my mom and my dad loved music. My grandmother was a great piano player. I had two older brothers too, so they like really got me into music. The LimeWire days, burning CDs and all that. They really got me. They really showed me what was cool. And at that age, too, growing up, elementary school, middle school, you're like consuming so much new media, and you're finding out things for yourself. So. Like that whole exploration of new music that you kind of experience for yourself is really formative at that age, and I don't know how it would have went without older brothers. Really, they were a huge part of that, huge influence on me. Anything from like Lil Wayne to like Wale and metal music. I mean, like classic rock. It was kind of a mixed bag, but. It led me to, I started taking piano lessons in middle school, yeah. And so I learned kind of like music theory through there, and that's kind of like where I started developing love for the creation of music, I guess. And then when I got my first laptop, it was kind of like I just hit the ground running, Now,
we got to stop right there. Take me through that experience.
Yeah.
If you can remember, what's the first program that you used, the first kind of maybe song that you messed with or created? Kind of tell me about that first production experience.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty trash. It was very bad. All my early stuff was, but you put 10,000 hours into anything, and I think you kind of just develop you develop a vision and you kind of hone what you're trying to do with it, so things start to make more sense. But my first DAW was GarageBand.
Oh yeah.
And then shortly after FL Studio. But it was crazy because it felt like, because I had this knowledge of music theory, and once I started making beats, it felt like something it felt like a language I already knew. It felt like something that I had like always meant to do, but didn't really know it yet. So when I discovered that, it was pretty like mind-blowing. I just kind of fell in love with it. And I mean, obviously, I'm a proud member of YouTube Academy. I was looking up tutorials like crazy, but for the most part, when it came like on the music side of things and actually creating a beat, it was just seamless. It was like I already knew how to do it almost. It was pretty crazy. But like learning a DAW is one thing too.
Okay.
A software on your computer. It takes a while to learn. But yeah, I put in 10,000 hours in high school. I was just making a lot of beats and sending them out to people. I kind of grew my name a little bit in Minnesota. There are a lot of cool artists up there that I loved working with and loved getting familiar with. The scene is awesome up there.
And I have to ask kind of like just the details of it all. When you said that you were in high school and making the beats and sending them to people, what does that mean? Where were you finding people's contact information? Who were you sending it to? Just tell me all the nitty gritty.
Yeah, I kind of skipped over that. Well, SoundCloud was huge. I was posting, the internet really is the short answer.
Yeah.
Finding people on Twitter, back then Twitter wasn't just all jokes, you know, it was like people used it to connect with people. Instagram, Twitter, usually, SoundCloud, some people found me, but really a lot of it's word of mouth too. You know, if you're doing good business and you're somebody that people find intriguing, whatever, either like people like me will come find you or you'll come find me, you know. It's like, it's kind of just the music industry in general, even if you're in a big city, it can be really small, and like the webs like that you can create, you're always like one step away from somebody, you know?
I agree, and it's so crazy. Actually, piggybacking off of that, in my Big Top interview about this time a year ago, he's sitting in that very chair. He was like, yeah, and I sat down with Topper. Do you know Topper? Topper's cool. I was like, I don't know Topper, but I want to know Topper. Now I know Topper. And I encourage viewers to tune into the second segment of the show to continue to learn Topper, to continue to learn about Christopher's background, education, and the impact that he seeks to leave on Tennessee communities. Second segment of the show for today. For viewers just tuning in, I am host Alana McLaughlin. You are watching Perspectives. This morning on the show, I have Christopher Atwood here discussing his background, his education, the impact that he seeks to leave on Nashville through his music production, and ultimately ways that we can support him. In my first segment, Christopher set up just kind of that early life. He set up his background in Minnesota and some of the early production experiences that he had, kind of crafting himself, honing in on his craft. And in the second segment, we're talking about Topper kind of taking this work and running with it. We're talking about kind of receiving fame and notoriety from this work, moving to Nashville with this work, and ultimately the impact that he seeks to leave on our community through this work. We're coming right back in. You set up a really good foundation of kind of what early life in Minnesota looked like. We left off in your high school era. You're kind of making beats. You're sending them out to people. And I want to talk about where you feel like you began to blow up. This doesn't have to be like your first celebrity placement or anything, but something that helped you recognize, oh man, this might, I could make a career out of this.
Yeah, a lot of it was actually moving to Nashville.
Really?
I moved to Nashville because I kind of just wanted to move away. I felt like after high school it was I fortunately had the ability to just take the leap, you know, go somewhere new. I really was intrigued by that, and just new place, new people, new opportunities. And so I chose Nashville just through school. I came to Nashville. I lived here for a year before getting in-state tuition at MTSU.
Oh my God.
And so I got my degree from MTSU eventually, but that like year I was here, 2 years, like 2018, 2019, I mean, we had a studio in our basement, and I met a lot of people right away. A lot of cool people, a lot of great artists, and you know, I was just another 10,000 hours, you know, I put in. I was working for free. I was just making a million songs, and I think through that process, it got my name out there a lot, because like you said, it's a small kind of network here in Nashville, and it's like if you're making noise, people will hear about you. I think that's how I'd put it. And so it kind of just led to one day, or one night actually, I think it was like 2020. I get a DM on Instagram from All True Creative. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but great studio out east in Nashville. They aren't there anymore, but beautiful studio. They're a great spot. A lot of people used to go record there, and shout out All True. They DM'd me, and they were just like, we don't have any available engineers tonight. Can you come take a Star Lido session? Yeah. And it was like, I mean, I think this was like 11 p.m. on like a Sunday, and I had school the next day. But I mean, that's a no-brainer, right? Of course, you have to take that. So I go to the studio. I get there a little early so I can set up, you know, get sound to the mic, be prepared at least a little bit. And, you know, I'm starstruck. I'm nervous, you know, of course. It's my first time recording in an actual studio.
With Star Lido of all people.
Yeah, it was a crazy way to start, and I was wildly nervous. I was really just trying to like not mess up. I wasn't even trying to do a great job, you know. In walks Star Lido. It was the rockiest start ever. He went for the fist bump, and I went for a dab. And, yeah, I still wake up in a cold sweat to this day because of it. It was bad. The session went well. He was there recording a verse for a local artist who had a bunch of friends with him, and they, you know, Starlita was coming to the studio. They were all starstruck. And like 75% of the session was them just like picking his brain. It was really cool. He was just telling stories, putting them on game, and I was just a fly on the wall. It was, to this day, like the coolest session I've ever been in. Yeah, like pretty much my first ever session. I don't even think he knows that, but yeah, I've been fortunate enough to like work with him a couple times like today, and very, very blessed. Shout out Lito. He's a huge inspiration for me. He's just a really smart person, and he's like he knows what he's talking about. But yeah, so I guess I did something right, because then I just, like Alltrue kept asking me to come back and do sessions. I was just very available for them. So I really, really am grateful for the opportunity I had there, because I mean, I worked there for like 3-4 years. You know, I learned how to record in a studio, how to develop a client base, you know, how to record people I don't know. You know, I'd never really done that. I was only ever recording my friends. And so you just learn so much through that process. Every session teaches you something. And yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today without that opportunity. I don't know like how my path would have looked, but.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. It kind of seems that hip hop and rap kind of seems to be your niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. How did that become your niche? Because if you just looked at you, if I just looked at you and you just said, "Hi, I'm Christopher," I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's Christopher. He just looks like an average guy." Never would I ever be like, "Oh man, he's like one of the hottest hip hop producers and engineers in town." How did that come to be?
I mean, I think I had a love for rap, obviously. And I think like making beats was a big part of it, because I started recording just because no one else was.
Yeah.
And if you're a producer, there's nothing worse than waiting for somebody to, you know, record a song to your beat. So really, I just taught myself how to do it, because I'm like, yeah, let's speed this up. Like we could just do this in a much quicker way. Like beat making, I was terrible at it for years, but I kind of developed a love for it. And really, it's just like I mean, I work in other genres, but like I'm most comfortable in rap just because I have developed those skills over the course of, years. And, you know, every genre is so different the way they sound. So, you know, people like to look down on rap, and especially like engineering rap. Oh, it's just like one vocal, there's no singing, you know, it's just like an ad-lib track and a vocal. But like it is very, very nuanced in its own right. You know, mixing an 808 with a vocal sometimes is just as difficult as it is, you know, anything else really.
Heck
so
yeah.
It's partly just like a love for the genre, and kind of just the opportunities that I've gotten, and the people that I've met through there. So like a lot of my friends are musicians or artists, and that's what's so cool about my job, is I just get to like really meet new people and become friends with my clients, you know.
Yeah. Now, Topper, in our final segment, we're going to talk current career. We're going to talk about what an average day looks like for you. We're going to talk about some of the artists that you've worked with in the past few years, about 6 or 7 years since you've been in town. And we're going to end off this segment on ways that people can connect. I want a young man who's saying, like, God, I need an engineer. I need somebody sensible. I don't want to go out and spend my money and this guy ghosts me or blocks me. I need somebody good to invest in. I want that young man to have all the answers as to how to book you, how to work with you, and how to find you. That's going to be our goal for this episode, and I encourage our viewers to tune into the final segment of Perspectives, where Christopher and I will return to discuss audio engineering in Tennessee, his career, and the impact that he seeks to leave on Tennessee communities. Final segment of the show for today. You are watching Perspectives, and I am host Alana McLaughlin. For viewers just tuning in, I've had Christopher Atwood here discussing his background, his education, and the impact that he seeks to leave on Tennessee communities here on the show today. Topper has set up his life, his early life in Minnesota, his transition down to Nashville. We've talked about just some of his educational experiences, graduating from Middle Tennessee State University. We talked about just some of the early career experiences that he's had, and we actually left off in our second segment talking about his first real studio session with Starlito. And we know and love Starlito on this platform, and I don't really need to talk too much about who Starlito is, but we're going to continue talking about who Topper is. We're going to continue talking about the impact that he seeks to leave on Tennessee in ways that we can support him. I want to know what an average day, and was that a good intro?
That was a great intro.
Yeah, I can see you smile. I like that.
No, it's master at her craft right here.
Thank you, man. But I want to talk about what an average day looks like for Topper. I want to talk seriously, like waking up to retiring at the end of the night. Take me through just an average weekday.
Wake up time is later than I want to admit on TV. But my life is kind of designed around my job, which makes it difficult because in certain areas, because kind of part of my job is like staying available and being available as much as possible, saying no as little as possible. And a lot of my sessions that are booked day of. So a lot of times I wake up with no real plan for my day, but end up working 8 to 10 hours. And a lot of times it's late into the night. So it's difficult for me to make plans. It does make it difficult to kind of have an organized social life. So there are struggles, but I mean, I at the end of the day, I'm very grateful for it. I get to do what I love, and that is honestly kind of a schedule that works for me, or I've gotten it to work for me.
Yeah.
I've just gotten really used to it. So yeah, the lack of organization, I guess, has just become a part of who I am.
And now I don't mean to interrupt, but I'll have to know, when people call you to set up a studio session, what does that process look like? What does the artist usually ask you? What materials are they expected to like bring to you? Tell me how that flows.
Yeah, I mean, with everyone it's different. Everyone's kind of looking for something different. A lot of people just want to come to the studio for 3 hours with their friends and make some songs for fun.
Right.
Other people are coming with, you know, an actual, like a project ready to be mixed and mastered, get it radio quality, and they have a specific vision for everything. Every session's different, every artist is different, so really my job is just kind of making that the easiest process for them to get what they're looking for, and for that just to be easily communicated at the end of the day. So yeah, I mean, people just reach out to me, they'll call me or text me, they'll just call me or text me or DM, you know, and just ask for this day that they're free, how many hours they're looking for. It's an hourly rate, you know, so I'll, you know, we'll go over all that, and then, yeah, I mean, my goal really is just to make it the easiest possible path from like that first message or call to them leaving, basically.
Now, okay, and this is coming from somebody who's like not involved in the music industry at all, and I just have to ask, when people call you, do they normally have their own drafted music that they want you to edit? Now, excuse my vocabulary, like my terminology, I'm trying. Do they usually have their own materials that they want you to like put your Topper magic on? Or are they just coming with a voice and a posse and they need you to like take me and my voice and my posse and make it a song? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
yeah.
It does.
What do people usually expect?
It can be either. Sometimes it's both. Sometimes, you know, you get someone with a notebook full of lyrics that they have every song memorized, and they just will rattle off an entire song off the top of their head. Sometimes they come in not prepared at all, and they open up YouTube and look for some beats, and will just, I mean, a lot of people in rap these days, they record with nothing pre-planned.
Oh.
Yeah, they'll just record one line and get that one line you know, down to their
uh-huh.
their liking, and then they'll just go to the next line, and you just kind of take it line by line
Oh,
and just
wow.
piece a whole song together that way.
Now, here's another question that's on that same topic. Think about your most difficult production experience. Now, this can be difficult in terms of the client really didn't know how to explain what they wanted, difficult in terms of the client was just totally unprepared, but think about a challenging moment. Explain it to me and then explain kind of how you got through it.
Wow, they happen all the time. I'm trying to
Pick
choose one. You know, sometimes you just make a beat that's not good, or
Oh,
just
yeah.
that someone doesn't like.
Yeah.
I've had sessions like that a lot, where someone comes in, I don't have any beats. I would like you to make me a beat right
Okay.
now in front of me, and it needs to be, you know, worth my money and time that I'm paying for right now.
Right.
So then you get to sweating, and you open up the computer and try to just like conjure up something that they like.
Oh my God.
An example, actually. I just recently had a session with Starlito,
Uh-huh.
and he was talking about how he wants to make a song with Big Top and with Eddie Valero,
Uh-huh. Cool.
who have wildly different sounds.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, give us some beats for it. Like,
I can't even think of a beat that I would.
yeah. I was basically just like, you know, ask someone else. No, but like, yeah. So it's like difficult requests that you just. I mean, hey, can you sample this song? And it's like, there's no way I could ever do that. You know.
It actually brings up another question. With sampling, you have to go through licensing and stuff like that, and like
Correct.
copyright. So if I just said like I want to pull "Remember the Time" by Michael Jackson, like very slim chance that that's gonna like.
You have the black SUVs coming to your house.
But and how do you explain that to people and kind of deal with situations like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually kind of tricky right now because a lot of people in rap actually are. It's very popular right now to
Right.
be sampling things like from our era. You're not sampling some like really old, you know, Isaac Hayes or like Sade or anything. You're sampling like.
Juvenile.
You're sampling like Nicki Minaj or like, you know, things that like we listened to in early 2010s and stuff like that. That's really popular right now, which I think is a natural progression of music. It always is. You know, everything is kind of repackaged, but you do run into copyright issues with that. But like, it's not always. Things not always are getting flagged. It's very inconsistent with how that works. Sometimes you take a song and you pitch it way up, speed it up, slow it way down, pitch it down. You manipulate the song.
Right. Kind of get around.
And you can kind of get around certain things with that. So, like when people ask me that question, like I don't even have an answer for them sometimes. Like I worked with somebody who just dropped a song to all beats that were like, or dropped a tape, excuse me, to all beats that were like very popular, like Gucci Mane songs.
Oh my God.
And I've been keeping an eye on it every day because I'm so
I know,
curious.
just like waiting for it to go down.
It hasn't been taken down.
Topper, I want to thank you just for starting this conversation about music production. And we're going to finish this in a next episode, but I just want to thank you for just opening the floor up and kind of telling me a little bit about the audio production culture in Tennessee. And I want to thank you for the work that you do and the kind of the goodness that you share with our community. To my
thank you.
viewers, thank you for the opportunity to share one more perspective. Thank you for allowing me this platform. Good morning.